Hello, everyone. This is Father Leo. I'm home. I'm safe. I hope you are as well. Today is Palm Sunday, and so we celebrate the great Paschal mystery that is God's gift to all of us. I remember one of my first homilies, feels like when I was a kid, in my home parish was at Christmas, and I talked about the Word being God's love letter to the world, proclaiming his forgiveness and love for all peoples. And I think that's a great concept. I think it's true. But the depth and understanding of what that word, what that letter is all about, comes clear in today's gospel, because we get a deeper look at the meaning of Christ's life. So we look at that and we see a man who loved people, who was killed not because he was bad, but because he was rejected. People couldn't embrace his love, which also embraced a truth they weren't ready to hear. So to make this clear, Jesus had to die to make his point that there is a greater truth that exists beyond even this life and should shape what we live and what we die for. When we look at the scriptures today, it's really our story. Think of the experiences that Jesus had that maybe you've had in your own life. For once, betrayal. Here he had people around him who loved him. But there was one among them, Judas, who became a traitor. And whatever his reasons were, I don't think I can judge that. It still was a hateful thing to do to Jesus Christ. So Jesus suffered that those closest to him didn't understand him and turned their back on him. Also, we see in this the anguish of Jesus. Here he is in the Garden of Gethsemane, praying that this whole thing pass him by, but not his will be done, but the Father's will be done. And so he goes forth there, and he is put in the hands of Pilate and the people who judge him, who eventually crucify him. And on the cross, he has one of his most painful experiences. He feels utterly abandoned, even by the God whose son he is. He cried out, my God, why have you abandoned me?" And in that great moment of faith, he says, "But into your hands I commend my spirit." So in that moment, he lives out his faith to the end and is raised by the Father. So that story of Jesus is our story. When we experience betrayal or anguish or abandonment, we look at him to find some meaning in that perhaps there's a bigger meaning to our personal experience, that we're sharing in a bigger drama, the passion that is God's passion in Christ that we all participate in. And I think we do that very much so right now, with this being home so much, especially if you're alone. It's not easy, but it certainly does, I think, give us time to really spend with the Lord and to really deepen that relationship with God through prayer and to identify Jesus' experience as our own. And that allows us to move into the light, into the Spirit of Christ as we live in Christ. Then we also give up the ways and maybe acknowledge the ways in which we've denied people or caused other people anguished or abandoned them, turned our back on them. Maybe not deliberately, but maybe other ways. So we realize that, we're all into this together, and it's not about judging and calling out sin. It's about calling out the great gift of that love letter from God, that God loved us, sent his Son who died for us and was raised from the dead so that we can let go of what keeps us from living in the fullness of God's grace. So contemplate above all that The Passion story is the story of God's love for you, for who you are, and for who he calls you to be. See this as his personal gift to you, which it is. And as you accept that great gift, I think you'll feel God's blessings in your heart. His love will awaken. His love for you will burst out in love for other people. So may this difficult time, this passion that we're all experiencing, give way to new life, to the life and the love of God. That when we gather again in community and experience the fullness of Easter, that we will truly know what it means to die and rise with Christ. God bless.